Hey there, Clone Club. Mark Decode here from Solo Talk Media and host of the Orphan Black podcast. And this is my double take for the season finale of Orphan Black, which was titled By Means Which Have Never Yet Been Tried. Now, this episode aired in North America on Saturday, June 21st, 2014. Wow, my head is still spinning. I finished this episode not too long ago, and I just, to be honest, the first 30 minutes, I didn't know what was happening. I was so confused about everything that was going on. And then the last 30 minutes, or well, it's not quite 30 minutes, but you get the idea. It didn't improve stuff in my mind that much. It's a great episode, don't get me wrong. It's just there were so many questions I was asking myself, and it was just they were throwing stuff at us left and right, and I was getting really confused about what was happening. This episode definitely deserves, if not one, multiple rewatches before I'll fully understand everything that went on. And after seeing the episode, I want to go back through it and watch it piece by piece and see everything, because I'm sure I missed so much in this episode. So, as you know, these double takes, what I normally do is I'll put out 3 questions and sometimes 4, but I put out questions that I ask you guys to talk about in your feedback. Well, there was so much that happened in this episode. I think I'm going to change this up a little bit, and I'm going to ask you to, first of all, send me your feedback. What did you think of this season finale? Did you like it? Did you not like it? But mostly, what questions do you have after seeing this finale? I'm sure you have questions, either, what happened here, or stuff you were confused about or not sure of. So send me your thoughts. What am I thinking about this episode? I'll give you a few examples of stuff, but these are not actually questions, although you can take them and you can answer them if you want. But some of the stuff that I'm questioning: is Rachel dead? Where is Delphine? We know that Rachel told her that she had to go off to somewhere. I can't remember where. Did Delphine just leave? Is she actually gone? Is that the end of it? We're not going to see her again. Who knows? Helena's eggs. She left that container. To me, it looked like it was kind of out in the open in the middle of the room, and yet nobody questioned it after Helena left. That was another thing. Helena left, and nobody questioned that she wasn't at the apartment in the morning. Or they did. We didn't see that part. What else am I thinking? Mark, big thing in this episode, we found out that there's male clones, and the clone Mark is a clone. So does Mark know he's a clone? We knew he was ex-military, but did he know he was part of these experiments? Does he know he's a clone? And if he does know he's a clone, then what does that mean for Gracie's baby? Because he knows that Helena was a clone. Does he know about that whole bit? Did Henrik know Mark was a clone? Who knows? Speaking of Helena, what's in store for her? The military's gotten a hold of her now. What are their plans? They were working on male part of clones. Do they need something from the female part? And did they specifically need Helena, or did they just need a female clone? And Mrs. S decided that Helena was probably the best one to give Paul. Speaking of clones again, Marion's daughter is a mini version of Sarah. She's only 8 years old, but Sarah recognized her right away because it's her at 8 years old. And what's the deal there? Was that she there only to show us that Marion Bowles has an investment in the whole thing, and that she has a daughter that's a clone as well? Or is there more to her than this whole thing? Are we going to see her again next season for some reason? Other stuff that I'm thinking of, if there's a male counterpart to the female, and we know that Ethan Duncan was going to work on this part, the female part, that but then Mrs. S's group kind of kidnapped him or took him out of there. Is it possible that Susan, Rachel's mother, is still alive, and that she's been working all this time on the male side of it? So are we going to find out in season 3 that Rachel's mom's there? Will it even matter if Rachel's dead? If she's dead, she got stabbed in the eye with a pencil. It might have, who knows how deep that went, if it actually killed her, or if she's just going to be blind in one eye. Who knows? So, so Susan. And what's with Paul? He's a major. We knew that he was some in the military and, as they said, Ghost and Special Forces and all that stuff we've been talking about. But what's the deal with him now? Why did he need Helena? What's his group's involvement in all this? So many questions that I'm personally wondering and questioning, and that's why it was such a great finale, because it got me thinking about all this stuff, and I can't believe we got to wait almost 10 months. That's if, well, not if, I was going to say if that's if we got a season 3, but of course we're going to get a season 3. As I've said many times in the podcast, they'd be stupid not to. The show's doing so well. Not to mention, I just found out today that Tatiana Maslany, she won the Television Critics Award for the second year in a row. So she was the winner last year. She won it again this year. So she's doing well, and I'm pretty sure she'll be nominated for an Emmy. And not to mention all the other awards. Orphan Black was... I can't even remember, some Directors Guild awards where Orphan Black got the most nomination out of all of the other shows. So they're doing so well that it's just a matter of time. I don't know why they haven't announced it yet, but definitely will be back for season 3. You can quote me on that. But so many questions. I love this episode, but definitely going to need a rewatch, if not multiple rewatches. And even then, I'm sure I'm still going to have a bunch of questions that I'm just not going to be sure about. Now, normally in my double take, I give you guys till Tuesday at noon to submit your feedback. I'm going to have to move up that deadline a little bit for this week. I'm leaving on Wednesday to go on holidays, so I need to get my podcast out on Tuesday, which means I'm probably going to record it Monday evening. So I would like to get the feedback by 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday. If I can get it in by 6 p.m., then I'll include it when I record Monday evening. Otherwise, I'm going to miss out. There's been times where people have put in your feedback a little bit past the deadline, and I've been able to squeeze it in. If you missed the deadline this time, I'm sorry, but your feedback probably will not make it into the podcast. Unless, if I do end up putting out another podcast, if anybody that is in Europe or anywhere else in the world that is watching Orphan Black and you're on a different schedule than North America, if your finale is in a week or 2 weeks or whatever, please send me your feedback. Send me what you thought of this season finale, of the season overall, and all your little things that you're thinking about. I really want to hear what you guys think of it as well. And anybody who missed the deadline, who had submitted something after the deadline, if I get enough of them, I'll put out another podcast when I'm back from holidays, and I'll cover that. Speaking of when I'm back from holidays, I mentioned in my last podcast, we are putting together another Podcasters Roundtable, Orphan Black Podcasters Roundtable. I will be joined by some hosts from a few of the other Orphan Black podcasts. I won't name anybody yet because we're still in the process of getting everybody scheduled together to find out who's going to be able to make it on the date we've chosen to record it. But keep an eye out for that. It'll be in my feed sometime at the beginning of July. We'll have that. And it was a lot of fun. If you were following me before this season, we did one with the ladies from, or Chris from Tatiana's Everyone, and Kyle and Ben from Orphan Black Chat, and myself. We did one hosted by Kevin Bachelder, which it went really well. Now, as I said, I'm not going to say which podcasts are involved this time. There's a few more, so until everything is settled, I won't say that, but I'm sure it's something that you'll like, and we'll discuss season 2, what we thought of it, and what we think season 3 is going to bring. So anyways, to send me your feedback, I would love to get your audio feedback this week. I'm hoping I get a ton of feedback, and audio would be better than having me read it all. If you really need to, don't worry about it. I don't mind reading it, but it's a lot easier if I get the audio. You can submit feedback by emailing me an audio attachment or typed up you can send it to feedback@solotalkmedia.com. My voice feedback line is 1-805-910-7656. That's 1-805-910-SOLO. You can go to solotalkmedia.com, and on the right-hand side of the page, there's a little leave feedback tab there, and that's the SpeakPipe widget. You click on that and you use your computer's microphone or your tablet or your smartphone's microphone, whichever device you're using. You record your message, you can listen to it to make sure everything sounds okay, and then you hit submit to send it. And that's free of charge. You can do that free of charge. And that only lets you record 90-second messages. If you end up going over 90 seconds, just record another one and continue, and I'll splice them together. And that's no problem. So once again, feedback deadline is Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you want to make it into this podcast, because this podcast will be put out early. I do want to thank everybody who's left me reviews on iTunes. I looked, and I know in the US alone, I have 18 5-star reviews, and that's great. I thank you people so much for those. That means a lot to me. And I haven't checked the other countries, but I looked at the US recently. So anyways, that's it. Again, I want to hear your feedback. I want to know what you guys thought. You don't have to answer any of the questions I asked this week because they weren't formal questions, but let me know what you thought, and let me know what questions you have after this season finale. I will talk to you guys in a few days when I put out my podcast. And anyways, until then, everyone, take care.